Hello and welcome to Sustainability for Design, Construction, and Manufacturing. I am very glad you could join me today to start your journey in making a positive impact for today's world and the future generations to come. In this course, I provide a broad overview of sustainability, touch on various sustainability concepts for design, construction, and manufacturing, while providing guidance on how to start an effective sustainability program. I will share lessons learned from my journey in starting and growing sustainability programs. Let's now dive into the concept of sustainability and set ourselves on a path to a stronger foundation for personal growth and personal satisfaction of serving a greater purpose through our jobs. This new decade brings with it increasing global concerns resulting from climate change and social unrest. The meaning of sustainability evolves and changes at a very fast pace, moving beyond resource efficiency and green building materials and certifications for the built environment. The definition of sustainability is now enhanced to include social topics such as health and wellness, social justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion. How we design, specify, procure, build, mine, and manufacture building products and their impact on the environment and society are now viewed as critical aspects of our jobs. You have probably heard the most common definition of sustainable development, which is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Most times, the terms sustainability and sustainable development are used interchangeably. In layman's terms, sustainability can be defined as acting or operating while sustaining finite resources for humanity's survival. Each industry or organization may define sustainability in their own words based on the impact of their own operations and priorities on the environment and society. For example, when I started my career in construction, sustainability was generally defined as environmental compliance and green buildings. Today, the meaning of sustainability is so much more than that. What comes to your mind when you hear the word sustainability? Here are a few things that come to my mind. Climate change adaptation and mitigation, environmental management systems, waste reduction and resource use efficiency, clean air, clean water, health and wellness, safety, social justice, job creation, healthy economy, supporting local communities, and more. Another term that is commonly used along with or interchangeably with sustainability is corporate social responsibility, or CSR. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, corporate social responsibility is the continuing commitment by businesses to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of the workplace as well as the local community and society at large. Although CSR seems to focus on people and not the environment, it is clear that for the survival of the people, environmental stewardship is critical. Actions taken under a sustainability or a CSR program typically align and address both the environment and people while adding economic value. Programs under environmental stewardship and social responsibility cannot be effective in silos. Another term that is almost synonymous with sustainability is ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance. It's an acronym that is increasingly used by investors and publicly traded companies representing environmental sustainability, corporate social responsibility, and how corporations are governed. Environmental metrics for a construction or manufacturing organization may include energy consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, water use and waste. Social topics may include workforce development and community engagement, which include philanthropy and community service projects, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion for the workforce and governing boards. Governing topics may include anything that relates to how an organization is managed and policies and standards that keep it ethical, accountable, and risk-averse. Sustainability, corporate social responsibility, or ESG. All of these terms cover environmental, social, and economical impacts of an organization, as well as it being accountable for its actions. Design, construction, and manufacturing industries share many areas of priority when it comes to sustainability, including resource use, carbon emissions, waste and pollution management, considering the vast amount of material and energy resources required to build, maintain, and redevelop the built environment, along with emissions and waste generated throughout the entire life cycles of buildings and products. Now that you know about the terms used interchangeably with sustainability, you are ready to dive deeper into sustainability terms, concepts, and programming. Today's organizations are dealing with a complex and unprecedented list of social and environmental challenges. Businesses can turn these challenges into opportunities and create added value for their stakeholders, including employees, shareholders, supply chains, civil society, and the planet. Organizations from small businesses to large corporations may find various benefits in incorporating sustainability into their strategy, mission, and goals. For example, a design firm may gain a competitive advantage by providing guidance and cost-effective sustainability solutions for their clients, while a corporation may reduce compliance risk and achieve savings by implementing a robust sustainability program. Take a few seconds and answer this question. What benefits can you think of gaining by incorporating sustainability deeply into a business strategy? Here are some of the benefits I can think of. Increased operational efficiency by reduced resource use and waste, competitive advantage, loyalty and brand reputation, talent attraction, engagement and retention, robust programs and monitoring for regulatory compliance requirements, reduced risk, innovation and change. Myth or fact? Sustainability and profits cannot be achieved at the same time. You are probably answering this question correctly. This statement is a myth. Better management of environmental and social factors can potentially create opportunities. Organizations can generate revenue and increase profits by minimizing the cost as a result of efficiencies, mitigating risks, and offering differentiating services. However, it is important to keep in mind that some sustainability efforts may result in high capital expenditure that may not have short-term returns, while other low-hanging strategies may result in immediate financial benefits. I recommend balancing the short-term and long-term sustainability goals and gains while identifying both tangible and intangible benefits based on your organization's priorities and capacity to invest in these initiatives. According to a McKinsey survey, more than 90% of the participant companies experienced a specific event or risk, such as consumer pressure or brand-damaging controversy, that directly triggered their commitment to sustainability. These included addressing long-term risks to their businesses, avoiding damage to their reputations, prevention of regulatory problems, and elimination of unnecessary operational risks. Brand reputation and customer loyalty is another benefit of a purpose-driven business that views environmental and social values into its offerings. According to a 2019 U.S. Consumer Sustainability Survey, buyers wanted sustainable products and over one-third would pay 25% more for them. When starting or enhancing your sustainability program, make sure that your communications and marketing teams are included as a part of the sustainability efforts from day one. What is the most important asset of your organization? It is you. All organizations depend on their people to exist and thrive. Attracting highly qualified employees, helping them grow, and keeping them for a long period can be quite challenging in today's job market. The replacement of an employee costs money and causes disruptions and inefficiencies. Another key benefit of a sustainability program is talent attraction, engagement, and retention. According to a Fast Company survey, more than 70% of participants said that they were more likely to choose to work at a company with strong environmental agenda. According to a Deloitte study, almost 9 in 10 millennials believe that the success of a company should be determined beyond its financial performance, and it should care about the environment and social life of its employees. Contractors, manufacturers, and designers can approach sustainability as a key driver of innovation. Ask yourself, what are the challenges my customers are faced with? And can I use a sustainability initiative, product, or service as a solution? When you ask this question to yourself or your team, brainstorm ideas. If you come up with a number of potential solutions, run the generated ideas through research and development, and then consider commercialization, such as a sustainability service, a technology, or a product. Many times, innovative ideas don't have to cost too much or take a long time to materialize, especially if you can pilot these ideas or do a test run on smaller projects with interested clients. We have discussed various benefits of integrating sustainability into an organization's business strategy. Each organization may find one or more of these benefits more important than others. Sustainability is not a one-size-fits-all kind of application. An effective sustainability program reflects an organization's key priorities and should be customized to focus on relevant benefits accordingly. Design, construction, and manufacturing create the three facets of our built environment's impact on our natural resources and society at large. Each plays an equally important role and is closely tied for both positive and negative environmental and social results. Leaving one out of the three resembles making a three-legged stool with a missing leg and expecting stability. There are two aspects of sustainability for design, construction, and manufacturing organizations. The first one is the green services and products offered to clients and customers to help them with their sustainability efforts. The second one is integrating sustainability into an organization's operations and activities beyond providing requested sustainability services. Do you provide any sustainability services? Here's a list of what comes to my mind. Green building certifications, pre-construction for making green buildings cost-effective and constructible in an efficient manner, engineered solutions for energy reduction and renewable energy generation, passive design solutions, sustainable and healthy products, sustainable building material specifications and procurement, construction waste reduction, and many more based on the challenges and opportunities your clients are faced with. Let's also give a few examples of sustainability at corporate level. Corporate sustainability for an architecture firm may take place by committing to reducing consumption in its offices and providing growth opportunities for its workforce. For a manufacturer, by focusing on reducing its operational carbon emissions and waste, as well as tracking and disclosing its sustainability efforts. For a contractor, by implementing sustainable construction best practices such as waste reduction, pollution prevention, indoor air quality management, and environmental training for its job sites. Here's a list of corporate sustainability efforts to consider. Sustainability programs for corporate offices such as waste reduction, reduced water and energy use, employee development and engagement, community service including philanthropy and volunteerism, corporate carbon emission reduction initiatives, sustainability reporting and advocacy, which may be in the form of public speaking, educating stakeholders around critical sustainability issues, engagement with local jurisdictions around green codes, or other sustainability-related laws and regulations. Let's now review sustainability in the industries of design, construction, and manufacturing individually with examples. Sustainable design is creating projects, products, and solutions with a focus on minimizing or avoiding negative environmental impact while providing social and economic value. Sustainable design considers environmental impact throughout the life cycle of its creation, from material sourcing to end of life. Sustainable design for buildings includes various principles including site design and land use, resource use efficiency including energy, water, and raw materials, use of environmentally preferable products, healthy indoors including better air quality, acoustics, lighting, and views, optimized operations and maintenance, and improved resiliency as a result of design solutions. Sustainability in design goes beyond providing on-demand sustainable design services to seeking every opportunity to incorporate sustainable design principles into every project. This can be done in various ways. One example of commitment beyond client demand is the AIA 2030 commitment, which was launched in 2010 to work towards carbon-neutral buildings, developments, and major renovations by 2030. The AIA 2030 initiative asks signatory firms to report the design energy use for all of their projects each year and provides a summary of the results in an annual report. Another example of going beyond providing sustainable design services is by staying on top of the latest developments in green technology, design strategies, relevant legislation, and code updates. An informed designer can leverage the power of design by influencing and educating stakeholders such as clients, contractors, government agencies, and fellow designers. Here are areas of expertise you may want to dive deeper and develop knowledge and experience on. Net zero energy, carbon, water, and waste strategies, green and healthy buildings and certifications, biomimicry, biophilia, resilience through design, passive design, and carbon emission reduction through design and material selection. Also, keep in mind that expectations from sustainable design are no longer limited to reducing environmental impact, but to causing no harm at all, and even going further to creating regenerative opportunities to heal the environment and have a positive impact. As a designer, think about how you can transform the negative consequences of design decisions to regenerative solutions for a thriving future. Here are some other examples of sustainable design services and commitments you may consider. Leading a holistic design approach that integrates disciplines including all stakeholders such as the building owner, engineers, landscape architect, contractors, and all relevant consultants. Recyclable, reusable product and building design. Life cycle assessment for design options. And environmental friendly, healthy, and high performance product stewardship. While sustainability skills and experience are key to helping clients, don't forget about in-house sustainability practices, such as reducing the overall carbon footprint of your operations and focusing on people by supporting staff development through education and community service opportunities and advocating for a more sustainable world. Sustainable construction is the application of various principles to the construction process to reduce environmental impact and provide social value. A sustainable construction company focuses on both its operations, in other words, how it builds responsibly, and services for clients to be more sustainable while being cost-effective. Here are some examples of operational sustainability initiatives for a construction firm. Construction waste management for all projects, construction pollution prevention, indoor air quality management, water and electricity use reduction at job sites and corporate offices, incentives to encourage public transportation and carpooling, especially for the workforce, supporting communities by creating local jobs and hiring small businesses, providing a diverse and inclusive workplace, investing in employee professional development, engaging with subcontractors and suppliers around sustainability expectations, and paperless project management. Construction companies play a key role in making sustainable buildings cost-effective by including input from subcontractors and suppliers in early design decisions. This allows for opportunities in identifying cost-effective material alternatives and avoiding unnecessary resource use. Construction companies with a proven track record in effective sustainable solutions also enjoy a competitive advantage. Throughout my construction career, I've observed many times that early contractor cooperation with the design team resulted in thoughtful and complete sustainable design at affordable prices. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, sustainable manufacturing is the creation of manufactured products through economically sound processes that minimize negative environmental impacts while conserving energy and natural resources. I think we can take it a little further by defining sustainable manufacturing as an environmentally and socially responsible approach to design and engineering, production, distribution, and disposal of manufactured goods throughout their life cycle. Environmental stewardship in manufacturing include energy use optimization, water conservation, carbon emissions management, pollution prevention, including water, air, and soil, waste reduction, virgin raw material use reduction, resiliency including the supply chain, biodiversity protection including wildlife and endangered species, and environmental management systems. Social responsibility for manufacturing includes human rights, prohibition of forced labor and child labor, safe and fair working conditions, including working hours, wages and benefits for employees, health and safety for workers, communities and consumers, supply chain management, non-discrimination, and grievance mechanism, that is, reporting a possible misconduct or a reasonable suspicion without retaliation. Examples of sustainable manufacturing initiatives include reducing energy intensity and emissions in all operations and the supply chain, and reducing emissions via closed-loop systems, which requires the reuse of waste or byproducts within the manufacturing systems. Incorporating sustainability into manufacturing while keeping products cost-effective can be quite complex. Regardless of the complexity, many manufacturing organizations are implementing effective sustainability programs, starting with product design, to account for environmental impacts of a manufactured product during raw material extraction, production, its useful life considering its maintenance requirements and durability, and end-of-life disposal while keeping it affordable. Starting a sustainability program from scratch could be quite daunting. I should know I've done it for 3 different organizations and learned many lessons that I'd like to share with you today. Lesson number 1: one size does not fit all. Each organization is unique in its operations, priorities, and business strategy. Of course, organizations that fall under the same industry are expected to have similar environmental and social concerns that they would need to address. Yet, how each organization addresses these issues varies based on culture, management style, business strategy, stakeholder needs and demands, such as expectations of their clients and employees. For example, all companies in the construction industry are expected to address construction and demolition waste, indoor air quality during construction, and resource utilization, while a manufacturing organization may have a bigger focus on its supply chain, factory efficiency, and product development. Design companies, on the other hand, may focus on workforce development, technical knowledge and experience, especially around green building concepts and services, from energy efficiency to acoustics to the latest technologies, products, and green building trends. Yet every single corporation would need to identify its own priorities and address these according to its mission, culture, business objectives, and management style. Lesson number 2: it takes time. You can start a sustainability program right away, but a mature and effective sustainability program takes time and commitment. You can come up with great ideas, set up a program, and start strong, but keep in mind that you need to set expectations on a long-term success plan. Quick wins are great, but one of the greatest dangers for a sustainability program is for a company to stop working on it too soon before sustainability matures into a well-ingrained aspect of a business as usual. Lesson number 3: don't let your sustainability program stagnate. A strong sustainability program is as strong as its flexibility and adaptability to address the ever-changing demands and expectations around the global and local environmental and social concerns. It has to be re-evaluated often, at least annually, to be relevant. A mature sustainability program is based on continuous improvement and change, seeking to always reach a higher level of sustainability performance. Practice makes it perfect. In the case of sustainability, practice results in effective sustainability best practices that are tuned, updated, and improved consistently and constantly. One way of doing so is investing in research and development, staying innovative, and providing continuous education for all the workforce and leadership. Lesson number 4: is your sustainability program proactive or reactive? Your answer influences the roots of your program. A proactive program may have more flexibility, especially since there is no pressing concern and no need to focus on damage control. It is more about taking proactive actions to avoid risks that would require immediate reaction, such as a compliance issue, a fine that already caused financial harm, brand reputation that is already damaged. Whichever one shapes the sustainability program usually influences the first few years of a program, focusing on the problem to stop the bleeding rather than investing company resources into creating opportunities and added value. Lesson number 5: less is more. The first time I was charged to create a sustainability program, I had a list of areas we could focus that filled a whole page back and front. I felt quite accomplished to identify so many areas we can focus on. It didn't take me too long to realize that the longer my list was, the more distracted my efforts became. It was impossible to get anything done when our resources were stretched thin trying to do a little bit of each task. As soon as I came to my senses, I identified 3 to 4 key areas of focus and set goals and measurements for success on these most impactful activities. Especially when starting a program, it is best to stay focused and not cover a wide range of priorities until the program successfully includes completed tasks and impactful results. That is when you build on these accomplishments and enhance your program. As I continue on my sustainability journey, I continue learning new lessons and applying them to improve my future efforts. I hope you can take advantage of the lessons I've just shared with you and add your own lessons from your own journey as you practice and learn. Are you here to learn about sustainability so that you can start a sustainability program? Or maybe you are looking for ways to improve your existing program. I find that the best way to move forward is to first understand where you are. I've created a sustainability roadmap for you to identify where you are in your sustainability journey. This is for illustrative purposes and based on my observations and experience, and not necessarily the sustainability map for all. If you aren't on this map yet, no worries. It is also good to see where your sustainability program may end up once you start working on one. Many organizations start their journey with random acts of sustainability. What I mean by this is that a number of activities related to sustainability could be conducted by various departments of the organization, such as volunteering programs and philanthropy organized by Human Resources Department, sustainable products that may be procured by the purchasing department, green buildings that may be certified by a number of team members, environmental compliance that may be handled by safety or risk departments, and many other activities that are neither connected, centralized, or programmed around a core strategy or goal, nor are they measured for impact. Sound familiar? If this is the case, don't fret. A few times when I formalize a sustainability program, this is exactly where I've found myself. If you think you might be in this phase, consider the following action items. 1. Identify all sustainability-related activities within the organization, including the ones related to environmental impact, social impact, such as anything related to people, which could be employees, clients, and the community at large, as well as compliance and risk-related environmental and social activities. 2. Identify which departments and employees handle each activity. At this point, you are mapping all random occurrences related to sustainability and connecting the dots by showing how activities overlap, which ones have synergies, and which ones work against each other. 3. Centralize the efforts around a single sustainability program by setting priorities and targets around a formalized sustainability strategy. Keep all activities consistent to avoid randomness. 4. Remove any activity that is distracting and doesn't serve a purpose aligned with the sustainability goals to keep resources focused on impactful activities. 5. Assign roles and responsibilities formally so that everyone knows what is expected of them, and also redundancy and accountability issues can be avoided this way. I'm sure once you map out the randomness of activities, you will be able to identify gaps and other action items. These steps I've just mentioned are just examples to get away from randomness to a planned sustainability program. I call the next phase sustainability as an add-on phase. If you are in this phase, your organization already has identified sustainability as a priority and created a program around it. However, this sustainability program could be more of a nice-to-have, probably an add-on service or a product line, rather than a must-have. For example, the sustainability department of the company may be solely focused on green building certifications as a service, rather than corporate-wide sustainability efforts in addition to the sustainability services. Sustainability could also be shouldered by an individual or a small department that works with minimal collaboration with other departments. Answer this question. When strategic business decisions are made, is the sustainability leader in the room with the other leaders? If the answer is no, it is likely that your organization is in this phase. If you are in this phase, here are some action items you can take. 1. Shorten the chain of command between the decision maker and the sustainability practitioner. Quite a bit gets lost in translation by the time a CEO or a principal hears about a sustainability proposal if there are too many people in the chain of command. 2. As a sustainability practitioner, don't sit and wait to be called upon. Be present in company strategy meetings when you can, build relationships with other departments' key personnel, and find influential champions within the company to support you. 3. Show how sustainability can help solve problems that keep company leaders up at night. Be aware of what these issues are. Is it about getting new clients? Then, can sustainability offer a competitive advantage or an added value? The third phase of sustainability is when you have a fully integrated sustainability program that is proactive and cross-disciplinary in such a way that it is in everyone's job description from operations to legal and marketing departments. It is aligned with the corporate strategy with clearly set goals. If you are in this phase, consider these action items for improvement. 1. Achieve commitment from all executives. 2. Incorporate sustainability into the company mission and vision. 3. Ingrain sustainability commitment in company culture beyond cross-departmental efforts. 4. Set ambitious goals to lead the way. 5. Have company branding anchored in sustainability. The last phase is when sustainability is at the core of a business that is ingrained in the business's DNA. Are all stakeholders clearly aware of the company's purpose, goals, and mission? When your organization's brand comes up, is sustainability one of the first things that comes to mind? I'm sure you are very familiar with brands that are leaders in sustainability in every aspect of their operations and business. By dividing a sustainability journey into 4 phases, I hope to share with you my experience on where various organizations may find themselves and how they can move to the next level. These phases are not set in stone and could be fluid depending on an organization's unique situation. I hope by now you have an idea about where your organization may be in its sustainability journey. A successful sustainability program starts with setting specific and time-bound goals. Setting meaningful goals help clarify priorities across your entire organization and keeps your sustainability efforts protected from randomness and distractions. Let's give it a try, and by the end of this video, come up with a sustainability goal for your organization or school, city, or community. Write down answers to these questions. What is the motivation for setting sustainability goals? Who are your stakeholders? Customers, investors, employees, suppliers, or even competitors? What are the issues that are strategically important to your organization? How will the sustainability goals align with your organization's strategy and priorities in the short and long term? Revenue generation, as well as productivity and/or risk management? While setting sustainability goals, there are a few important details that make the goals meaningful. The first one is making the goal time-bound. For example, we will reduce construction waste by 30% at all construction sites. This is not a meaningful goal until it is tied to a timeline, such as, we will reduce construction waste by 30% at all construction sites by 2025. The second important contributor to an effective sustainability goal is its measurability. If a goal is not measurable, it can't be manageable. A goal should include the measure of success so that an organization can measure progress and be accountable. For example, we will reduce construction waste at all construction sites by 2025 is not a measurable goal until you change it to we will reduce construction waste by 30% at all construction sites by 2025. The third contributor to an effective sustainability goal is rigor. A stretched goal that is ambitious yet still realistic pays attention to available resources, capabilities, and budget while challenging all players to be creative, innovative, and excited. The last aspect for not just sustainability goals but any goal is that it should be in writing. For corporations, it should be in formal writing, communicated to all business units, departments, and employees so that there is no misunderstanding and all expectations and efforts are on the same page. I can almost hear you asking, how many sustainability goals should be set? When starting a sustainability program, the number of goals could be as few as 1 to 3, ideally a mix of both short-term and long-term goals. In my roles starting sustainability programs, I kept the number of goals to 3 to 5 to ensure that each one received enough attention. Too many goals may stretch resources and efforts, resulting in multiple half-completed goals without a single reached target. Among sustainability goals, there needs to be a good balance between both long-term and short-term goals. Short-term goals could be somewhere between 3 to 12-month goals, while long-term goals could be multiple years. For example, a design firm may have a short-term goal of having 75% of their staff to be LEED credentialed in the next 6 months. They can also have a long-term goal of achieving a carbon-neutral design portfolio by 2030 as a part of their commitment to a 2030 challenge. While short-term goals create momentum and a confidence boost through quick wins, ambitious long-term goals result in out-of-box thinking, innovation, and new solutions. While setting measurable and time-bound goals are key to success for a sustainability program, it is quite challenging to determine the targets. Do you choose a random numerical target that sounds good, such as reducing operational energy use by 20% by year 2020, and figuring out how you'd get there as you go? Or make an intelligent guess by estimating the impact of future projects, such as lighting or HVAC upgrades, construction costs, schedule of the upgrades to come up with a number? Of course, the second option. Make your research, identify action items, take your time for some assurance that your goal is reasonable. Keep in mind, once you set your goals, it is expected that there will be times for course correction and your goals may need to be readjusted. Here are a few examples of sustainability goals. Not good. Reduce the impact of our packaging on the environment. Better. Eliminate 20% of packaging by 2025. Not good. Reducing emissions. Better. Reduce 2015 operational carbon dioxide emissions by half by 2025. Not good. Help clients with their sustainability goals. Better. Implement company sustainable design guidelines in every project. Companies can take their sustainability goals to an advanced level by following international frameworks. One of these is called science-based targets, which provide companies a clearly defined path to reduce emissions in line with the Paris Agreement goals. Another international framework is called Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. The SDGs were adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. There are a total of 17 Sustainable Development Goals that balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability. There isn't a single way of setting sustainability goals. Regardless of its rigor, having a clearly written and time-bound sustainability goal is better than not having a goal at all. A sustainability program without any formalized goals is similar to setting on a journey with no destination. A sustainability plan is an outline or a roadmap that shows how an organization plans to achieve the set sustainability goals. A sustainability plan is usually done annually with a list of action items that are tied to overarching goals. Action items under each goal could be simple activities such as draft a waste management plan, or maybe complicated and time-consuming sustainability initiatives such as implement a waste management plan at all construction sites and collect monthly data. When deciding which sustainability initiatives and actions you should dedicate your resources and energy to, you may want to answer a number of questions to help your decision. Let's say you are considering to install on-site renewables at a number of your facilities. The first question is, what goal does this initiative serve? Let's say you have a goal to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2% every year. This is the goal that this initiative is serving. The second question is, what is the scope? Are you proposing to install solar panels on every facility's roof? Or maybe this is not feasible at this time. Then how many projects should you include and which facilities should receive it? In the next steps, you continue exploring the facilities with the right size roof and sun exposure, looking for roofs that need to be replaced so that the solar installation is done in coordination with roof replacement. At this point, you might have already come up with a list of potential facilities for this initiative, and you are closer to deciding on the scope rather than coming up with a random number of facilities for this initiative. The next question is, what is the cost of this initiative? What resources are needed? This question also requires research and calls to contractors for cost and schedule estimates. Answering this question will also help you to go back to your list of potential facilities to receive solar panels and finalize it further. How many facilities can you include within your budget and available resources? The next question is it a one-time initiative or is it scalable? Some initiatives may sound very exciting, but they may be almost like a quick flame versus a slow-burning fire with a much bigger impact. For the case of the solar panels, the answer is likely yes, it's scalable to the whole portfolio of buildings. The next question is, what is its impact? What is defined as a successful outcome? For this initiative, the impact would be calculated based on the tons of carbon emissions that were avoided. But for some initiatives, it is hard to define a tangible impact in numbers, such as a health initiative that may result in increased productivity and employee morale. For these cases, you'll need to think outside the box. Maybe work with the Human Resources Department to review the changes in sick days and conduct an employee survey. The next question is, who should be assigned to this initiative? Which business units are affected by this initiative? Are they aware of this initiative? It is critical to assign roles and responsibilities even before a sustainability initiative is proposed so that you can check in with the business units, departments, and all relevant personnel. For this case, facility managers, staff operating the proposed facilities, construction staff, finance department for budgeting, and legal department for contract reviews are some examples that come to mind. Asking the right questions and answering them are an important aspect of successful initiatives. Take your time in this phase of discovery to ensure that you have the right initiatives in your plan from the start and you know what it takes to get them done. Once the initiative is approved and deployed, make sure to have regular progress checks and communicate with the relevant stakeholders. A good plan is one that provides flexibility to evolve and adapt. Allow your initiatives to adjust flexibly and continually evolve and adapt to the changing needs of your company and circumstances. Now that you've learned putting together a sustainability plan and implementing initiatives, I hope you can take the next steps by drafting a sustainability plan to practice these ideas and action items. Transparency and disclosure goes hand in hand with an effective sustainability program. Companies using sustainability communication as a tool to tell their stakeholders about their sustainability goals and initiatives and the progress they've made on a regular basis increase loyalty, commitment, and accountability. Sustainability reporting is one way to do so. There are various ways of communicating about sustainability-related efforts. A small business would likely benefit the most by focusing on cost-effective reporting tools such as a sustainability page on its website and social media, while a public company may need to aggressively report in multiple ways, including a standalone corporate sustainability report and follow a third-party sustainability framework such as GRI and CDP. A sustainability report typically includes sustainability goals, mission and vision, examples of sustainability initiatives, projects under these goals, progress made towards these goals in tangible metrics, performance, overall impact resulting from sustainability efforts, and if goals aren't met, then explains why. The benefits of sustainability reporting include a stronger brand, workforce loyalty and tenant attraction, consumer confidence, increased innovation, and increased understanding of risks and opportunities and access to capital. This enables external stakeholders to understand the organization's true value as well as tangible and intangible assets. There are various sustainability reporting frameworks from guidelines to ratings and voluntary disclosures. Many of them serve primarily the capital markets and provide information for investors on how public companies are performing in ESG-related topics. Private companies can also report using these frameworks. However, for most public companies looking for investment dollars, these reports could be demanded. CDP, formerly called Carbon Disclosure Project, is an international nonprofit that runs the global disclosure system for investors, companies, cities, states, and regions to manage their environmental impacts. Climate change reporting is one of the key frameworks for quantifying an organization's contribution to climate change and identifying climate change-related risks and opportunities. CDP also includes reporting opportunities under the supply chain, water usage, and forestry management categories. CDP scores are evaluated using letters with sector leaders receiving an A grade. GRESB, formerly called Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmark, assesses and benchmarks the environmental, social, and governance performance for real assets. Each year, organizations volunteer to participate in GRESB assessment. This benchmark serves the purpose of giving investors better information about how real estate portfolios that they invest in perform in energy, water, carbon, waste, as well as a number of social and governance topics. It focuses on performance as well as sustainability policies in place and how sustainability is governed. GRESB scores range from 0 to 100. GRI standards are used to publicly disclose an organization's impact on the economy, environment, and society to a broad range of stakeholders, including employees, investors, policymakers, suppliers, customers, communities, and others. These voluntary guidelines are used by thousands of organizations in more than 90 countries as a tool to issue annual sustainability reports. GRI standards are guidelines and do not score an organization. I will now conclude this video with a list of do's and don'ts for sustainability reporting. Don't communicate randomly. Do align your sustainability communication with your overall sustainability strategy. Don't greenwash, which refers to trying to appear more sustainable than you are by use of marketing and communication tools. Do be transparent and truthful and verify all claims. Don't only communicate what you do. Do communicate how what you do contributes to sustainable development and discuss the resulting impact and value creation. Don't keep your sustainability communication static, such as one-time update on a public website. Do update your sustainability report webpage at least annually. There are dozens of sustainability terms and concepts that any design, construction, and manufacturing professional should have under her or his belt. Throughout this course, I've covered many of these terms and concepts. In this chapter, I will go over some others that will give you a good understanding of foundational sustainability concepts that apply to not only design, construction, and manufacturing, but also many other industries. The concepts I will be covering next range from a way of thinking to most common sustainability trends of the last decade. The first concept I will cover is systems thinking, which ties to the following two concepts: circular economy and life cycle assessment, all with a holistic focus on sustainability. I will then cover green and healthy buildings and how they overlap and differ, followed by environmental management systems, which bring order to the environmental sustainability. Let's get started. Systems are everywhere around and within us. In nature, ecosystems on land and in the oceans work in harmony and keep everything in order to sustain life on Earth. Human body is another wondrous compilation of interlinking systems, such as a digestive system made out of multiple organs including our mouth, stomach, and intestines. Even one organ that doesn't do its part impacts the whole digestive system and all other systems depending on it to keep us healthy and even alive. Systems thinking is a holistic way of thinking where solutions are found within the interrelations of the parts that make the whole, rather than breaking down the whole into its parts and focusing on each part individually. What works in great harmony and abundance in the nature or our bodies also works as a solution for individuals, businesses, and communities. Applying a systems thinking approach to sustainability helps us to better understand and leverage the cause and effect relationships between our business decisions and their social and environmental consequences. Another benefit is identifying opportunities for innovation and design that work synergistically and solve multiple problems at the same time, eliminating trade-offs. Here's an example of how systems thinking approach work for the built environment, composed of multiple systems, including a building's site, structure, envelope, materials, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, and more. Let's say we are looking for efficiency upgrade solutions for a building's envelope. A building envelope is the boundary between the exterior and interior of a building, such as the roof, the exterior walls, and the windows. And let's say we are considering improvements to the wall insulation, more efficient windows, and highly sealed joints. A linear approach would focus on these solutions in only the envelope, while a systems thinking approach would realize that other building systems are also impacted by these actions. For example, an efficient envelope would likely result in a smaller heating and cooling system. In addition, these upgrades would likely also impact the indoor environmental quality, since the size, type, and location of the windows would influence the amount of daylight and access to views. Also, If the building is oversealed and not able to breathe, indoor air quality problems could also occur once the building is operational. As you can see here with this example, if the building design and construction teams only focus on just the envelope without paying attention to the other building systems, they'd lose the opportunity to optimize the mechanical systems and cause unwanted indoor environmental quality trade-offs by not properly identifying the interrelationships among these components. A systems thinking approach allows design systems to work with each other rather than against one another. Can you think of any opportunities to practice a systems thinking approach? If yes, consider answering these questions to get the process started. What does the big picture look like? And how does your organization and your role fit into this big picture? What are the cause and effect relationships among the components of the challenge and the other interrelated systems? What are the relationships and interdependencies among these systems? Can you make meaningful connections within and between the components and systems you've identified? I hope you take the time to practice this process and think big. The World Economic Forum defines circular economy as an industrial system that is restorative or regenerative by intention and design. It replaces the end-of-life concept with restoration, shifts toward the use of renewable energy, eliminates the use of toxic chemicals which impair reuse and return to the biosphere, and aims for the elimination of waste through the superior design of materials, products, systems, and business models. In simpler words, circular economy is when an economy eliminates waste or turns it into a valuable asset by reuse. The opposite of circular economy is a linear model of production and consumption. You are all very familiar with this model, where raw materials are made into products and goods, sold, used by the consumer, and discarded as waste likely to end up in a landfill. Circular economy is the opposite of this approach, almost similar to the natural ecosystem cycles. For example, when plants or animals die, they don't go to waste but return as valuable nutrients to the soil to support new life. In order to achieve this natural waste-free cycle, products are first designed durable to last, and then optimized for easy and efficient disassembly, transportation, and reuse in a new value cycle. Circular economy transforms the current linear economy of take, make, waste toward a non-linear, feedback or closed-loop-oriented one, hence the name circular. The promise of a circular economy is economical business, environmental and social value creation, while reducing the forecasted risks such as scarcity of raw materials and resources and climate change events. According to the World Economic Forum, only 9% of the global economy is circular at this time, while it has the potential to become a $4.5 trillion business opportunity. According to Ellen MacArthur Foundation, circular economy is based on 3 principles. Design out waste and pollution, keep products and materials in use, and regenerate natural systems. You might be familiar with some circular economy initiatives. Do you remember when glass milk bottles were reused instead of disposable milk cartons? Any initiative that eliminates waste or diverts it from landfills and make it into a useful resource is a good example. Another example I can think of is take-back programs by a number of manufacturers. I know some carpet manufacturers that have a take-back program that allows project owners to return carpet at the end of its life to be recycled for use in a new carpet product. Are there any examples of circular economy that you can think of? If you're looking for resources to learn more on circular economy, consider resources by Ellen MacArthur Foundation and Platform for Accelerating the Circular Economy. A life cycle assessment, or an LCA, is a tool that is used to identify the environmental impact of a product, process, or a system. This assessment is based on various environmental factors at different stages of a product's life cycle, from raw material extraction to disposal. In simpler terms, an LCA is an assessment of environmental cost of a product or a system's existence. Product life cycle that is evaluated by an LCA includes raw material extraction, manufacturing and processing, transportation, usage and retail, and final disposal. This life cycle is also referred to as cradle to grave, cradle being the inception of the product with the sourcing of the raw materials, grave being the disposal of the product. A life cycle assessment is a decision-making tool that quantifies the environmental impacts that arise from product inputs and outputs, such as energy use, waste, or air emissions, over a product's entire life cycle. An LCA can facilitate decisions in two ways. The first one is for research and development for sustainable products to meet corporate commitment, regulations, or consumer demand. And the second one is for decision-making in product specifications and procurement with the least environmental impact. For example, a manufacturer may decide to implement alternative approaches to reverse the identified negative impacts as a result of an LCA, such as changes in packaging, replacing a portion of raw materials with the recycled content, or investing in energy and water-saving technologies and equipment. An architect, on the other hand, may use an LCA to compare design and material select factor. Other factors such as cost, quality, and scheduling are also considered. Various green building certification products also take a life cycle approach, encouraging designers are made. LCA results is not the only decision-making factor. Other factors such as cost, quality, and scheduling are also considered. Various green building certification products also take a life cycle approach, encouraging designers, builders, and manufacturers to consider where building materials and resources come from, where they would go once their useful life ends, and what effects they have on the environment throughout their life cycle. This comprehensive approach is different from focusing on a single environmental attribute, such as considering a product with recycled content while not paying attention to its other significant impacts on the environment, such as carbon emissions, pollution, or waste. For example, LEED Building Design and Construction Rating System has a credit that rewards new construction projects that conduct a life cycle assessment for the project's structure and enclosure. Environmental Product Declarations, EPDs, which are standardized certifications of a life cycle assessment for products, are also encouraged as a green building strategy for choosing green building materials. EPDs provide direct comparisons of environmental attributes, such as carbon footprint and embodied energy, of similar products, and help identify the ones with the lowest environmental impact. Systems thinking, circular economy, life cycle assessment all approach green buildings and products from a comprehensive and a holistic way. I hope you now make the connections between these various tools, approaches, and ways of thinking in your sustainability journey. According to the World Green Building Council, a green building is a building that, in its design, construction, or operation, reduces or eliminates negative impacts and can create positive impacts on our climate and natural environment. Green buildings preserve precious natural resources and improve our quality of life. A green building is designed, built, and operated based on a systems thinking approach, looking at a combination of systems as a whole, rather than finding limited solutions in its individual components. What makes a building green is not just one aspect of a green building, but combining various strategies and solutions such as efficient use of energy, water, and materials, use of renewable energy and materials, good indoor environmental quality, use of sustainable materials with the least negative impact on the environment and occupants, and a holistic site design that makes good use of the site for the benefit of the occupants, natural environment, and the building's use. There are various green building certification programs around the world that provide tools and an opportunity for assessment of how green a building is. A number of green building certifications address multiple attributes, while some focus on a single attribute such as energy optimization. Some of these green building certifications are available globally, while others are applicable to specific countries. Here are some examples. LEED and BREEAM, Living Building Challenge, Passive House as examples of worldwide multiple attribute green building certifications, CASB in Japan, QSAS in Qatar, HQE in France, BCA Green Mark Scheme in Singapore, Pearl Rating System in Abu Dhabi, as local green building certifications, and US EPA's Energy Star, International Living Future Institute's Net Zero Energy certifications as single attribute certifications. I've covered a number of these certifications and green building concepts in my LinkedIn course, Green Building Concepts Foundations. Please take a look for a deeper understanding of what makes a building green and hear about the most common green building certifications in that course. The relationship between the physical environment and human health has become increasingly obvious in the past decade. Health aspects of buildings matter even more now as a result of serious concerns over limiting the spread of infectious disease the world is fighting as I record this video. From building design and material selection to building maintenance procedures and products, designers, contractors, and manufacturers are looked upon for solutions and collaboration in this area where building science, engineering, and public health overlap. There is no question that significant amount of time we spend indoors impact our health and wellness. Healthy buildings are those that protect and improve occupant health while also supporting mental and physical wellness. Healthy building design, construction, and management means removing health hazards such as toxins in building products, indoor air and water, promoting wellness by creating spaces that are comfortable and enjoyable with access to daylight and views, while encouraging an active lifestyle. A truly healthy building also trickles down the supply chain and protects the health of construction workers, product manufacturers, and the surrounding communities. A 2015 Harvard study reported that workers in optimized environments with good indoor environmental quality scored 131% better in crisis response questions, 299% better on information usage, and 288% higher in strategy. What makes a building healthy? According to Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, the 9 foundations of a healthy building include ventilation, air quality, thermal health, moisture, dust and pests, safety and security, water quality, noise, and lighting and views. Some strategies that fall under these various healthy building foundations include increased ventilation, enhanced air and water filtration, low-emitting construction materials, green cleaning, well-thought-out daylight and artificial lighting design, acoustics, and access to views, open spaces, and nature. Active design strategies that are also important for health in buildings include dedicated exercise rooms with equipment, easily accessible and attractive staircases, bicycle storage rooms, showers and lockers, and ergonomic workstations. The demand for healthier built environments also accelerated a variety of healthy building certifications for both new and existing buildings. WELL Building Standard and Fitwel are 2 commonly known healthy building certifications. I've covered both in my course Green Buildings Concept Foundations if you are interested in more information on these rating systems. As a recent development, Fitwel now also offers a viral response module, and WELL Building Standard offers a health safety rating to leverage buildings to mitigate viral transmission. In addition to the health ratings, most green building certifications such as LEED rating system, Living Building Challenge, and BREEAM also address health in buildings covering ventilation, material emissions, acoustics, and more. If you are looking for resources in healthy buildings, I highly recommend that you visit the websites for these building certifications and standards. I personally review these ratings and standards closely to understand what makes a building healthy and how green buildings overlap with healthy buildings. These resources provide helpful roadmaps to achieving health, wellness, and sustainability goals for both existing and new buildings. I hope you can take advantage of these free resources. According to the US EPA, an environmental management system, also called an EMS, is a framework that helps an organization achieve its environmental goals through consistent review, evaluation, and improvement of its environmental performance. An EMS is about consistent and formalized review and evaluation of environmental efforts. This is the opposite of a well-intentioned but random and scattered sustainability program that may result in inefficiencies and costly and unfocused results. Consistent and formalized efforts help identify gaps and opportunities for improving the environmental performance of an organization. Some key components of an EMS include assessment of the business activities, products, systems, processes, and services, and their environmental impact, development of environmental policies and programs, clearly identified and communicated roles and responsibilities, workforce education and awareness programs, formal procedures and systems to manage operations with environmental impacts, regular verification and auditing, and formal management review. There is no one-size-fits-all for how companies implement an EMS. Each organization's EMS is tailored to its own individual objectives, priorities, and mission. An organization may have a few options in implementing an environmental management system. One option is by developing its own in-house program and tools, and another one is by following third-party guidelines such as the most common EMS standard, ISO 14001. An organization may also take it further and submit to an independent third-party certification, such as ISO 14001. ISO 14001 is the international standard that specifies requirements for an effective environmental management system, rather than establishing its own environmental performance requirements. Another advantage of ISO 14001 is that it can be verified with a third-party certification. ISO 14001 applies a plan, do, check, act model for EMS development and implementation. The plan, do, check, act model starts with examining an organization's operations and activities to determine which one of those results in environmental impact. These impactful aspects, such as energy use, are called environmental aspects, with the most important ones as identified as the significant environmental aspects. Once these significant environmental aspects are determined, then the company sets goals based on priorities and develops a plan to achieve these goals. Once the plan is in place, planned activities are implemented, checked, and corrected as necessary, followed by a management review. Throughout these activities, an EMS manual is put together, and it may include compliance tools, action plans, standard operating procedures, SOPs, EMS procedures, training materials, auditing tools, and logs for corrective measures. The scope of an EMS system varies depending on an organization's priorities and commitment. While a basic EMS may cover only compliance-related issues, an advanced EMS may cover additional voluntary environmental programs for the whole enterprise. For example, a construction company may choose to develop a company-wide EMS not only for its corporate offices, but also for all of its job sites. This company-wide EMS helps organize the company's environmental goals and efforts while tracking progress towards meeting these goals. If you are interested in putting an environmental management system in place for your organization, keep in mind that you can always start with a limited scope. Maybe only 1 or 2 environmental activities or a few sites. Then, once you gain experience, you can enhance the EMS with additional scope in time. According to NASA, climate change is a long-term change in the average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. Climate change is most commonly measured as the average increase in Earth's global surface temperature. Climate change is often used interchangeably with the term global warming, though these two terms are slightly different. Global warming results from human activities, while climate change includes both human-produced and natural warming. NASA defines global warming as the long-term heating of Earth's climate system observed since the pre-industrial period due to human activities. This is primarily due to fossil fuel burning, resulting in increasing greenhouse gas emissions that trap heat in Earth's atmosphere. We will cover greenhouse gases in an upcoming video. Key indicators for climate change include global land and ocean temperature increases, rising sea levels, ice loss at Earth's poles and in mountain glaciers, frequency and severity changes in extreme weather events such as hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires, droughts, floods and precipitation, and cloud and vegetation cover changes. According to the World Meteorological Organization, or WMO, the world is about 1 degree Celsius or 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than before industrialization, and the warmest days on record were during the past 5 years between 2015 and 2019. The average sea level across the globe increased by 3.6 millimeters per year between 2005 and 2015. The WMO also states that if the current warming trend continues, temperature could rise by 3 to 5 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. To put this into context, temperature rises of 2 degrees Celsius had been accepted as the gateway to dangerous warming. More recently, scientists and policymakers have agreed that limiting temperature rises to 1.5 degrees Celsius is the safer option. I realize that I've just walked you through a dire situation and the significant losses we can have. I also want to get your attention to an incredible opportunity of helping solve this problem and prepare for what is unavoidable. Collaboration and innovative solutions, designs and technologies can create a sense of purpose for professionals and a competitive advantage for organizations in this new world evolving around the effects of climate change. I included climate change in this course because it is the most urgent environmental concern that applies to all industries around the world. In the upcoming videos, I will discuss the mitigation of current climate change crisis, how businesses and communities can focus on being prepared and resilient, and the role of Paris Agreement, which is an international commitment to fighting climate change. Existence of life on Earth depends on sun's energy and greenhouse gases that trap this energy and radiate it back to Earth to keep it warm enough for our survival. Greenhouse gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. Water vapor is the most abundant greenhouse gas and continues to increase as the Earth's atmosphere warms up due to evaporation. Water vapor generally stays in the atmosphere for days, while other greenhouse gases may stay for much longer, some of them for centuries. Carbon dioxide is released through both human activities such as deforestation, land use changes and burning fossil fuels, and through natural activities such as respiration and volcano eruptions. Atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration as a result of human activity is increased by 47% since the Industrial Revolution started. Carbon dioxide is the primary greenhouse gas responsible for more than 3/4 of emissions, and it could linger in the atmosphere for thousands of years. Methane is produced both through natural sources and human activities, including domestic livestock and other agricultural practices, and by decomposition of organic waste in landfills. On a molecular basis, methane is far more active greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, but also one which is much less abundant in the atmosphere. Releasing 1 kilogram of methane into the atmosphere is about equivalent to releasing 84 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Nitrous oxide is produced during agricultural activities, especially due to commercial fertilizers, and industrial activities, combustion of fossil fuels, solid waste, and wastewater treatment. Chlorofluorocarbons are synthetic compounds emitted as a result of various industrial processes, such as refrigerants used for cooling. These gases are quite potent, but in smaller quantities in the atmosphere, and regulated by international agreements due to their ability to contribute to destruction of ozone layer, as well as the global warming. The greenhouse gases cause the greenhouse gas effect, which is the reason we can survive on Earth. It is also becoming a threat to our existence. Without the natural greenhouse gas effect, the temperature on Earth would be around minus 18 degrees Celsius. Think of the Earth as a greenhouse, with its atmosphere as the glass that traps heat. Sunlight goes through the atmosphere, where some of it is absorbed and some of it is reflected. Solar energy radiating back to the space from the Earth's surface is absorbed by greenhouse gases and re-emitted in all directions. Not surprisingly, when human activities produce large amounts of carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide and methane, increased amount of radiation is sent back to Earth, thus causing global warming. You are now familiar with the greenhouse gases, what causes their emission, and the greenhouse gas effect, which is the reason for both our survival and the biggest challenge we are faced with. In the next videos, I will discuss how sustainability programs can prioritize carbon emission mitigation while preparing for the results of the climate change that are irreversible. Human-induced global warming has already reached about 1 degree Celsius above pre-industrial levels, causing severe impact on water supply, biodiversity, extreme weather events, food supply, and wildfires. Recognizing this threat, 195 countries around the world adopted the Paris Agreement in December 2015 at the Paris Climate Conference COP21. The Paris Agreement is a first-ever universal, legally binding global climate change agreement, and it requires the signing parties to hold global warming under 2 degrees Celsius and to make every effort to stay at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Countries that signed the Paris Agreement are taking action on their commitment by setting national targets for 2025 or 2030 to control greenhouse gas emissions and to confront the impact of climate change. The Paris Agreement created a clear framework for all countries to make emissions reduction commitments and strengthen those actions over time. Global warming could only be mitigated by serious commitment and action from all countries around the globe, and everyone has a role to play. Let's now discuss what these actions may look like and how you as a professional fit in this complex puzzle. In the upcoming videos, we will review how climate change applies to design, construction, and manufacturing industries in a two-pronged approach, which are climate change mitigation by reducing and stabilizing the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and climate change adaptation to respond to the climate change that is already or almost here. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, climate change mitigation is a human intervention to reduce the sources or enhance the sinks of greenhouse gases. In other words, climate change mitigation is reducing greenhouse gas emissions by managing human activities that result in these emissions, such as by reducing and/or replacing fossil fuels, and enhancing the ability of Earth in absorbing and neutralizing emissions, such as by preserving forests and oceans, and reforestation. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, carbon dioxide due to fossil fuel consumption is the largest single source of greenhouse gas emissions from human activities, followed by destruction of forests as the second largest source. According to the 2019 Global Status Report for Buildings and Construction, almost 40% of energy-related greenhouse gas emissions are from buildings and construction sector. Design, construction, and manufacturing industries all have an important role to play in the global fight against climate change. Climate mitigation efforts in design, construction, and manufacturing start with addressing the operational carbon emissions. The simple but not always so easy solution to reducing operational carbon emissions is energy efficiency and optimization, followed by transition to alternative renewable energy sources such as solar and wind energy. Organizations can also choose to offset any remaining carbon emissions after all these solutions are put in place. This can be done by funding an equivalent carbon dioxide reduction project, such as a renewable energy or energy efficiency project somewhere else. This is also called carbon offsetting. Embodied carbon in materials is the other aspect of carbon emission reduction efforts for the building industry. According to the World Green Building Council, embodied carbon refers to carbon emissions associated with materials and construction processes throughout the whole life cycle of a building or infrastructure. According to a United Nations report, Embodied carbon emissions from the building sector produce 11% of annual global greenhouse gas emissions and 28% of global building sector emissions. Embodied carbon calculation includes the whole life cycle of a product or a system, including material extraction, transport to manufacturer, manufacturing, transport to site, construction, use phase, maintenance, repair and replacement, refurbishment, and end-of-life disposal or recycling. By retrofitting existing buildings for efficiency and reuse instead of building new ones, efficient material use, reduced waste, and understanding and considering embodied carbon when making material selection are ways that design, construction, and manufacturing professionals can play a role. Of course, as a professional, your first step starts with educating yourself on this topic. Here are some resources to have a deeper understanding of climate change mitigation for your review. The Embodied Carbon in Construction Calculator, EC3 tool, One-Click Embodied Carbon Calculator, ICE, British Database of Embodied Energy and Carbon, EPDs, Environmental Product Declarations. Scientific evidence shows that reducing greenhouse gas emissions is no longer enough to stop the climate change and its consequences. We are already experiencing climate change impacts in average temperature, changes in the seasons, and an increasing intensity and frequency of extreme weather events. Now is the time to make adjustments to address and adapt to both actual and expected climate change-related events. According to United Nations, climate change adaptation refers to adjustments in ecological, social, or economic systems in response to actual or expected climatic stimuli and their effects or impacts. In simple terms, climate change adaptation is about changes in processes, practices, and structures by countries, communities, and businesses to respond to the impacts of climate change that are already here and predicted to take place in the future. In addition to the physical climate risk that we covered in the earlier videos, such as weather-related disasters, there are also social risks associated with climate change that require adaptation efforts. Social risk factors include social shocks and stressors, such as household vulnerability to poverty, hunger, disease, mortality, displacement, labor market disruptions, building inaccessibility, inequity, and loss of life during catastrophic events. Adaptation cycle under the United Nations climate change regime includes 4 steps to recognize, anticipate, and plan for these impacts on communities and buildings. The first step is assessing impacts, vulnerability, and risks. Actions under this step can start with taking an inventory of a portfolio, products, or any other relevant assets and identifying climate change-related vulnerabilities and risks. For example, for an existing building or a portfolio of buildings, this may mean a vulnerability assessment to identify if the building or the portfolio of buildings is at high risk from wildfires, sea level rise, or other climate change impacts. It is best if this step includes not only the climate risks that your organization is exposed to, but also the ones that your clients or customers and community are faced with. The second step is planning for adaptation. This step may also be called resilience planning. In this step, adaptation action items are identified and budgeted for, including an assessment of costs and benefits, so that appropriate solutions are chosen among the available options. Comprehensive planning in this step may include initiatives, implementation of new technologies or strategies in a phased approach, not all of them at once depending on the cost and timing of the risks. Emergency preparedness plans should also put in place in this step. Here's an example. An architect designing new buildings may design and offer details to avoid water infiltration to the building in case of flooding. Even better if there's a checklist of items that strengthens the adaptability of design projects that is offered to the building owner or developer. A manufacturing organization will be impacted not only on site where its factories are, but its supply chain would also need to be prepared. Setting expectations for all stakeholders and being aware of the risks down the chain are also critically important. Step 3. Implement adaptation measures. Implementation takes place at national, regional, and local levels in addition to the businesses for an effective adaptation. This could be done through a combination of various means, including projects, programs, policies, and strategies. An example to this phase is when major mechanical and electrical equipment in a building are relocated from the basement or first floor to upper floors to mitigate flood risk as a result of climate change. Step 4. Monitor and evaluate adaptation. This step can be undertaken throughout the adaptation process, and the gained knowledge and experience can be fed back into the process to ensure continuous learning and improvement of future adaptation efforts. While monitoring helps record the progress made in implementation, evaluation determines the effectiveness of adaptation effort and identifies required improvements and changes. Here are a few resources to review for a deeper understanding of this topic. U.S. Resiliency Council's RELI Rating for Resilient Design and Construction, GRESB's Resilience Module for Real Estate and Infrastructure, UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, U.S. Climate Resilience Toolkit. I hope you can take a few moments to think about what you can do personally and professionally to be a part of the efforts in reducing disaster-related risks, increasing community resilience, enhancing livability, and protecting natural resources.